Willis was talking about, Ken Willis was talking about the balls maybe having some effect on his distance on kickoffs and perhaps long field goals.
Well, every week there's brand new balls. They're prepared the same way. They get the same amount of air. They rub them down with dirt. I mean, it's kind of like a balata ball or a Sirloin ball in golf. I can't tell the difference. Only a kicker knows the difference in balls.
First and 10 for the Skins. Ball at the 33. Rippon throws it complete to Gary Clark, and Clark right at the first down marker. A 12-yard pass play as Gary Clark with an excellent route. 2:44 remaining in the first half. Clark in motion, now in the slot. Sanders now in motion. Rip complete to Gary Clark for yet another first down. So Washington with 2:13 remaining in the first half on the march. A 17-yard pass play inside the 40 of Dallas.
And thus far, what we've seen from the Washington offense hasn't really been a job that the Dallas defense has played really great. It's a case that Mark Rippon right there, number 11, the quarterback, conferencing with the coach. And the Washington offense, specifically the receivers, have not held on to the ball. It's easy to defend a team when they can't catch.
As much grief as Rip took this week for his performance last week was very, very refreshing in terms of how he's handled the controversy and dealing with the press.
He's resigned to the fact that they're gonna rip me. If I don't play well, or they don't think I'm playing well, they're gonna rip me. And that's a clean, healthy attitude for a quarterback or a coach. Because you do anything wrong, you're in the microscope in the NFL these days. And if you're a quarterback, you better get used to bad publicity. Joe Montana gets bad publicity, so naturally Mark Rippon's gonna get a lot.
Rip said no matter how bad it got, he would not stop meeting with the press, though. First and 10, ball at the 39 of Dallas. Rippon with plenty of time for Art Monk. Complete for a first down. And Mark Rippon got whacked good and is limping on that left leg of his.
He took a shot late there from a late rush. The offensive line was doing a great job of protecting for him, but right in there at the last moment, he seemed to take a lateral shot from Dean Hamill, number 78, on the side of his leg.
And that is Stan Humphries, the backup quarterback who will be going into the game, a second-year player from Northeast Louisiana.
Watch right at the end here. We'll see Hamill, 78, sheds the blocker, Schlereth, and is going to dive right in at the end, trying to distract. Actually, Schlereth drives him into the side of Rippon's leg.
So with 2:03 remaining in the first half, Stan Humphries replaces Mark Rippon. Stan Humphries has played in only 2 NFL games. And this his second year in the NFL. And there are many on the Redskins coaching staff, and including an ex-player, Sonny Jurgensen, who happens to think this is the better talented guy of the 2. He'll get a chance to show his wares in just a moment.
And with Dallas and Washington all tied, the thing to watch in this replay, here's the 3 people involved. Here's the leg, classic throwing technique, and Schlereth is going to drive, number 69 is going to drive Hamill right on to Rippon's left leg. Had it planted and in the ground.
First and 10 at the 24, the Cowboys. Humphries up for his first pass. Touchdown! Oh, they say out of the end zone, dropped. That was a touchdown. Ricky Sanders had it and dropped it.
And if not for the hold on somebody in that offensive line for the Washington Redskins, would have been a great debut at quarterback for Humphries. And a lot of people compare him to more of a Joe Theismann type of a quarterback. He's more of a guy that makes things happen. He's a slinger. He gets the ball off sidearm if he has to. You see the replay there. The ball is flipped perfectly up here. Great pass, really. Unfortunately, it's going to be a holding penalty, and it's all for naught.
Couldn't ask for a more perfectly placed pass by Stan Humphries.
This guy emotional and excited? Look at him. Oh, darn. Would that have made the papers tomorrow or what?
Instead, he now operates first and 20 1:54 remaining in the first half. To Bynum. And the spin move got him some extra yardage. Down to the 20. A 14-yard pickup from Humphries to Bynum. Stopped by Vince Albritton. As you take a look at Mark Rippon being carried off the field, that left leg wrapped, and Washington calls a timeout on the field with 1:42 remaining.
Nicely executed play right there by the Washington Redskins. Dallas read that as screen all the way to Bynum. They just couldn't do anything about it. The whole left side of the offensive line, led by Russ Grimm, number 68, and Jim Lachey, number 79, got out on that screen and led the way for Bynum. They made the first 2 blocks, and then Bynum was just grinding and twisting and running. The Dallas defensive line sort of stops rushing. Look at Tolbert, 92. He knows it's screen. Everybody else knows it's screen. Lachey, 79, gets a block. Grimm gets a block. Number 68, from here on, oh, heck, it's just twisting and turning. And Bostic, number 53, the center, got a nice block out there.
And nice to hear and see Rip get a good hand from the fans here. 2nd and 7. Humphries back to pass with time. Complete to Ricky Sanders inside the 5. And what Rip turns back and looks and sees is a first down pass, 17-yard pass play from Humphries. And Washington with 1:36 remaining inside the 5 of the Cowboys.
And now that play right there, that was a blown coverage. It had to be, because the receiver was all by himself. There was nobody within 10 yards of Sanders.
First and goal, ball at the 4. Washington has problems against San Francisco at the goal line. We'll see here. Humphries wisely wraps it up and is dropped back at about the 6. Danny Noonan along with Jack Del Rio.
And that's a little extra that Humphries can add to this offense. When he doesn't see anything, he has the abilities to pull that ball down and run with it a little bit. If he becomes a regular quarterback, if this injury is serious to Rippon's knee, you might see more rolls, more sprints out of this Washington offense, because they have a more mobile quarterback than Humphries.
Right now, Washington would like to score in this they call the red zone inside the 20. Humphries has the ball batted down. Jim Jeffcoat. So Jim Jeffcoat bats down a Stan Humphries pass.
This has been a strong point for Jim Jeffcoat for years. You see number 77 in the right corner of your screen there, the defensive end for the Dallas Cowboys. He's not getting a great pass rush against Lachey, number 79, the left tackle for the Redskins, but he just says, hey, I don't need to get right at the quarterback. I can jump up and block it. And this guy is the veteran stabilizer for that Dallas defense. He's been there 8 years now.
3rd and goal, ball at the 6. Monk in motion. Humphries has his arm hit as he releases the ball. Intended receiver was Art Monk, and Bill Bates doing a good job on defense.
And Bill Bates, watch him come out of the right side of the screen. Number 40 right there. He reads blitz. He's going to get under the jersey, under the pads, under the chin, into the helmet, and onto the ground with the quarterback. Who is the 3rd string quarterback for the Washington Redskins if they keep getting him beat up like that?
Well, Jeff Rutledge is on IR.
Well,
and Russ Grimm would be the emergency quarterback.
High school quarterback.
That's right.
Well, that'd be an offensive lineman's dream to get him in the game.
This will be a 23-yard field goal attempt by Chip Lowmiller. And Lowmiller boosted through, so Washington could not score the touchdown, has to settle for the field goal and lead it 6-3.
It's a real concern for the Washington Redskins. They had trouble inside the 20, in fact, on the 1-yard line last week with the San Francisco 49ers. So far today, they've gotten the ball down in the red zone twice and have not been able to get touchdowns. That is something they're going to hear about repeatedly from Joe Gibbs you know, if they win this game or not, starting Monday in the meetings, they're going to hear about red zone offense, goal line offense. You got to do it.
The early report on Mark Rippon is that he has a severe sprain of the left knee. And as Randy mentioned, with no third quarterback dressed, Jeff Rutledge, of course, on IR, not available to come back until, ironically enough, when the Skins play the New York Giants. Would have to, in fact, go to Russ Grimm as their emergency quarterback.
I'd pay to see that. Russ Grimm, number 68, they'd have to cut all the tape off his hands. What I'd pay to see is not so much him throwing. I'd like to see him back there behind the center. I mean, he's got to be 20 pounds bigger than Bostic. It'd be just it'd be a sight in itself.
Don't forget, coming up at halftime, Greg Gumbel and Terry Bradshaw with all the scores and highlights from New York. Low Miller. Line drive. Dixon finally gets the handle on it at the 6 and runs into a wall that includes his own man. Brad Edwards will be credited with the tackle. Vince Albritton ought to be given an assist on that tackle, his own man.
That can be a little embarrassing when you're a special teams player. You know you're in the wrong place at the wrong time. You hope nobody really notices. But the thing to concentrate on here is two things. Watch the quarterback and how Troy Aikman uses the clock. A great gauge of how a quarterback matures is how he can use a clock in a situation like this. They're either going to come out throwing or they're going to run it. If I was a Dallas coach, I'd run this clock out and go into the locker room only down 3.
The clock reads 49 seconds remaining in the first half. Aikman throws it complete to Jay Novacek.
Dallas has got to get to at least the Washington 30-yard line, I think, in a pressure situation like this. They don't want to get Willis out there around 50, 51 yards again. They want to get him inside of 50 and give him a little bit more of a comfortable situation in a critical kick.
Well, Willis should be somewhat comfortable. He had the distance on that 51-yarder. 2nd and 1. Aikman throws it complete to Johnston for the first down.
And Dallas isn't running the ball like I had suggested, but they are taking very high percentage passes and taking advantage of the holes in the defense.
And they signal for a timeout with 33 seconds remaining in the first half. Don't forget, coming up next week here on CBS Sports, baseball returns to the airwaves, and strong and tight division races in progress. And CBS Sports will keep you up to date with that. Check your local listings for the game in your area. And talk about a real dogfight taking place in the American League East. Boston and Toronto started the day tied.
The only race that's really out of question is the American League West, and the A's way out ahead of the Chicago White Sox. Every other race is within 4 games.
No doubt about that. In the National League, Pittsburgh leading the New York Mets by 2.5. Cincinnati by 4 over the Los Angeles Dodgers. But there is action today. Joe Gibbs looking on. First and 10. Ball at the 34 of Dallas. 4 wideouts in. Tip ball. Wilbur Marshall in the vicinity almost for the interception.
That's some dangerous territory late in the half like this to throw that ball into. There's only really 2 things that are going to happen. Your guy's either going to catch the ball or you're going to get a big turnover, and you're going to set an experienced Washington offense up for a chance to put 3 more points on the board.
Brings up a 2nd and 10. 29 seconds remaining. Wilbur Marshall says he's doing exactly what the defense coaching staff wants him to do. Cover and rush. Aikman incomplete. In and out of the hands of Jay Novacek. .25 seconds remaining, and If Washington stops Dallas, Washington in not bad field position.
Well, Dallas is in a situation right now that they're throwing over the middle, and they're throwing over the middle short. It's not like every one of these passes is for at least a first down and move the ball and let it progress down the field. I don't really quite understand throwing it over the middle like that. I think you go on the sidelines, you go long, and you throw right at the markers on the right on the end line.
3rd and 10. Aikman with time, throws it complete, and he had all the time in the world as Dennis McKinnon catches it at midfield for the first down. Timeout called again with 16 seconds remaining.
And that leaves the Dallas Cowboys with probably 2 plays and a kick left. And we'll see Aikman, obviously the coach is up in the box, led by Coach Shula, the quarterback coach and coordinator, figuring this out. McKinnon sits in the hole and hits him right in the chest.
Offside, defense, penalty is declined. First down. Due to the penalty, no Dallas timeout.
So there was no Dallas timeout charge that time. 16 seconds remaining. 1st and 10, ball marked at the 49.
That could be a big call right there, James. Not having a charged timeout, Dallas will have 2 timeouts left. They can get 2 plays off, after which they can stop it both times to set up that field goal. They do not have to throw to the sidelines.
An opportunity to at least tie it up.
And they're within 19 yards of that area they need to get into. They're at the 49-yard line now. They need to get to about the 30 to put Willis in effective field goal range.
Aikman looking for Martin, nearly intercepted by Brad Edwards. So Aikman was looking for Kelvin Martin and instead almost found Brad Edwards. We'll make it 2nd and 10 with 11 seconds remaining.
Like I mentioned earlier, these are the situations where you really get a good gauge on how much maturity a young quarterback is getting. You watch a Joe Montana, you watch a very experienced quarterback, they do things a little bit differently. They're not taking quite the chances, I think, that Aikman is.
Complete to Johnston, and Johnston dives for what looks to be the first down as Darrell Johnston quickly signals for the timeout with 2 seconds remaining. So the ball looks to be marked at about the 38-yard line, so that's near.
You know, we talk about an experienced quarterback. Troy Aikman throws that ball. As soon as he throws it and it's complete to Johnston, he starts sprinting towards the towards the receiver who has the ball and the nearest official. All he has to do is turn around to the referee and say, I want a timeout. He can save himself a 20-yard sprint.
And a little extra energy. Well, not quite the comfort zone that you were saying Ken Willis would need. This will be a 56-yard field goal attempt if they attempt to do such. And again, his career longest in college, a 50-yarder. So this will be a 56-yard attempt by Ken Willis. It's up, and this one is going to be way short. So that's the end of the first half with the score, Washington 6, Cowboys 3.
Generation of Oldsmobile. Step into the future now at your Oldsmobile dealer. Autolite spark plugs, guaranteed for 2 years, no matter how far you go. And by Magnavox, smart choices for smart people. Magnavox, smart, very smart.
Back here at RFK, as you take a look at Troy Aikman, who certainly would like to have had a bit more offensive firepower in the first half. Low-scoring ball game, Washington on top, 6-3. James Brown along with Randy Cross. And Randy, not an awful lot to talk about offensively for either team, but the big play in the first half could very well turn out to be that injury to Mark Rippon, the Redskins quarterback.
Without a doubt, James. We're going to take a little look at it. Schlereth, number 69, drives Hamill, 78, right into the knee. It's been diagnosed as a severely sprained left knee for Mark Rivet, and we'll see him limp off just after it occurred. A quarterback injury like this can either be an incredible minus for a team or a great plus. Now, you can't diagnose from the booth. No one knows what's wrong with Rippon's knee, but Humphries, number 16, has an opportunity to come into this game and make a difference. He'll either be a distraction where the guys will wonder what he's going to do, or it'll be a big plus and just come in here running and gunning. What he did so far in the second quarter, to me, I think the guy's got poise.
Well, he's going to get an opportunity to show some of that poise here at the top of the second half as Dallas and Ken Willis kicks off to the Redskins. This is Brian Mitchell from the 13. And Mitchell worked by Bill Bates. A loose ball. Is it live? If it is, it's Dallas ball. And the preliminary signal seems to indicate that. And that is the first Washington turnover this season. The Redskins have gone through the first 2 games without an error. Error number 1 could be a costly one.
Now watch Mitchell, number 30, come upfield and into your screen right there. Billy Bates, number 40, puts his head on the ball, knocks it loose. You know, Billy Bates is one of the older Dallas Cowboys, and he told us yesterday, because he's been the special teams king here at Dallas, and Dallas, he's been to the Pro Bowl. He said, look, they're not going to let me do anything. I'm going to run around, I'm going to do my best, but Washington hates me. They'll double team me before they let me make a big play.
Ray Horton recovered the fumble. Dallas, first and goal at the 8. And it appears that this play is being reviewed, and the umpire stops the clock. So we'll find out whether or not the ball actually was brought loose after he hit the ground.
From the look of that replay we showed just a while ago, I think the only thing in question that possibly could be in question was he down on the ground before the ball squirted out? Let's take another look at it. Smagala, 42, misses him. Billy Bates hits him. From that look, you can't really tell because you can't see the backside of Mitchell. Here is the backside of Mitchell. Now you'll see Smagala miss, number 42. Bates hits him right on the ball. The ball is coming out before he hits the ground. Good call.
First and goal. Ball at the 8. Aikman. Incomplete. Andre Collins did a great job defending Rob Awalt.
Watch Andre Collins, number 55, the linebacker, going against Awalt, number 89. Now watch him just stick his arm up right there. He doesn't know where that ball is. Good timing. A defender will concentrate not only on the receiver's hands when he puts those hands up to catch a ball, he'll also watch his eyes. It's hard not to get excited about seeing a football coming at you, and defenders learn to read that.
Second and goal. And Charles Mann pointing at the Dallas offensive line as he runs into the backfield. Flags on the play. We'll see what they call, and Mann looks to be happy. And it is against the Cowboys.
Boy, it sure didn't seem to be much of a flinch. We'll have to get up there up close and personal to be able to tell if there actually was any kind of movement. Now watch Newton, number 61, on the left side of your screen. The second guy in from the tight end, Awalt. Boy, that was real close.
That must have been a sneeze.
Maybe Charles Mann's got a future, number 71, as an attorney, because he pleaded his case pretty good right there.
Second and goal. Ball at the 13. Darrell Johnston, the lone back. Aikman throws it low and incomplete. Intended receiver, James Dixon.
But on that play right there, Dallas got some real good push right up the middle and couldn't stop the Washington Redskins front from coming in there. Aikman was forced not to be able to step forward, and that ball was thrown right about, shin high. And you had to feel sorry. Dixon really never had a chance to get at that ball, number 86.
3rd and goal from the 13. Aikman under pressure, knocked loose by Fred Stokes.
His arm did not appear to be going forward. I'd have to think that is a fumble. And Aikman gets up. He's unhurt from that blindside hit.
So Fred Stokes, who does give the Washington Redskins pass rush from the right. Good job.
Here comes Fred Stokes from the right-hand side. Just does hit his arm before it moves forward. That was a fumble right there, ladies and gentlemen. And Stokes did a good job against Mark Tuanay, number 71. That's Stokes' specialty, number 60, is a get upfield. Got a 42-yard attempt right now by Willis.
And it's good. So Ken Willis comes away with the field goal, and the ball game is knotted at 6. Familiar sights here in the nation's capital, the Jefferson Memorial. Dallas Cowboys and Washington Redskins doing battle inside RFK, and another familiar sight, sellout crowd, 185th consecutive non-strike sellout here, and the fans are watching a field goal battle, all tied at 6 apiece.
There's Tony Wise, the offensive line coach, talking to his guys up front. Stepnoski, number 53 on the right, and Tony Slayton, number 65, the Plan B free agent from Los Angeles Rams, on the left. And while we were away, Stan Smagala, number 42, the rookie at Notre Dame, win it.
Onside kick, and the flag is thrown. Apparently the ball did not go the necessary 10 yards. So flag on the play, and we'll get the call from Bob McElwee. And was Dixon offside?
Side 45 kicking team, 5 yards.
Not Dixon, but Manny Hendricks.
Well, the element of surprise is always important on an onside kick. Surprise, I think it surprised the Washington Redskins. It definitely surprised me, and it's a good job by Willis. Watch Hendricks right there on the left-hand side of your screen. Number 45 clearly was across the 35-yard line before the ball was kicked. His job really was not to get the ball. His job is to get down there and block the Washington players from getting at the ball. It's somebody behind him's job to get the football itself. On that play, he's just sort of a screen. He's out there to knock people out of the way and enable the other players to recover. I think that stat right there speaks for itself, folks. 2 of the 3 games in the last 2 years that the Dallas Cowboys have won have been against the Washington Redskins here in RFK.
So Willis, having kicked from 5 yards back, kicks it only to the 15. Brian Mitchell. And Mitchell across the 35 to about the 36-yard line. So Washington will start with good field position, as well as Stan Humphries at the quarterback spot.
You know, offensive linemen always wonder, what do quarterbacks do when they go to the sideline? There's Troy Aikman on the phone. He's up talking to his Coach Shula, the quarterback coach. He's saying, well, Coach, no, I don't like hot dogs. Please don't give me a hot dog after a game. What did they do in the zone, by the way?
We got to lay it flat to slide.
Right now, the defense has a task at hand. Dallas's. Washington 1st and 10.
Now, these were out of a brand
from the 36. Humphries to Ricky Sanders, in and out, and Ricky Sanders, uncharacteristic day, dropping yet another pass. Well, for an update on action around the league, let's check up in New York with Greg Gumbel.
All right, JV, at New Orleans, Tim Rosenbaugh of the Cardinals has thrown his first touchdown pass of the season, 37 yards to Ricky Prohl, and that pulls the Cardinals into a 7-7 tie with the Saints in the 3rd. Back to JB and Randy in Washington.
Boy, the Saints all in the news trying to get their first victory. And, of course, Steve Walsh being talked of as heading to the Saints. 2nd and 10. 13:35 remaining in the 3rd. Bynum First down. Late flags everywhere. "15-yard gallop by Ernest Biner.
Face mask foul, 51 defense.
And if that face mask was ruled, to be intentional and flagrant, they'll add another 15 yards.
And you might expect that to come from a boxer's son. That's Ken Norton.
Watch the end of the play right here. Norton, 51, reaches out, gets near the face mask, likes it so much he doesn't leave it, and uses that to spin Biner around number 21 and put him on the ground.
And I guess
Norton,
the explanation is an obvious one as to why that's dangerous.
That's right. Ken Norton, son of former heavyweight champion Ken Norton.
First and 10. Ball at the 34 of Dallas. Humphries to pass. In the dirt, intended receiver, Art Monk. And Art Monk is not a very expressive individual, very quiet, but you can certainly tell by his body language there, a frustrating day for him.
It's been frustrating for the entire posse, Gary Clark and Sanders and Art Monk. They really have not had a very good day, and until that last penalty by Dallas, they have not really had the luxury of Dallas making dumb mistakes and going out of their way to give them an opportunity to make big plays.
Second and 10. 5 defensive backs in for the Cowboys. Sanders in motion. Sanders to handoff. Roped by Ron Francis, only a 2-yard gain. Live here in the nation's capital, RFK Stadium, the site of today's NFC East Division battle between longtime rivals Dallas and Washington. Evenly played ball game, as the score indicates. 6-all tie battle of the field goal kickers. James Brown along with Randy Cross. 3rd and 8 for Washington. Ball at the 32 of Dallas. Kelvin Bryant, the back end. Humphries with time and complete to Clark. First down at the 15.
And the keys to this game so far, and what has kept Dallas in the game, is that the wide receivers like Gary Clark have not been catching the ball. And the big plays have been Mark Rippon getting hurt, and also Mitchell, number 30, fumbling a kickoff. Now watch Clark right here, number 84 in the left part of your screen. He sees the defense. He just settles down into a hole, sees Billy Bates is right there in front of him, number 40, so he goes to where Bates isn't, and Humphries hits him right on the numbers.
First and 10 from the 15 of Dallas. 3 tight end formation. Biner can't capitalize on it as he's grabbed from behind by the 8-year veteran Jim Jeffcoat from Arizona State.
And a good job of penetration on that play right there by number 51, Ken Norton. He got upfield and forced Biner to go deeper, which bought Jim Jeffcoat, number 77, the time to get out there and tackle Biner.
A loss of 1 on the play. Humphries 3 of 7 for 47 yards passing.
Dallas has their nickel defense in right now. They're obviously expecting the pass.
On 2nd and 11. Biner. Inside the 10. Dragged down at about the 7-yard line. James Washington.
Good call by the Washington offensive coaches. Dallas in a nickel defense expecting the run. What do they run? They run a draw. And a good job by Lachey, the left tackle, number 79, on Jeffcoat. He drives him inside, enables Biner to get outside for a nice gain.
9-yard pickup brings up a 3rd and 2. Ball at the 7. 10:36 remaining in the 3rd.
Washington has got to punch the ball in the end zone in these red zone areas.
They've had problems. Humphries looking for Bryant. In and out of the hands of Kelvin Bryant. Humphries was under pressure.
Amazing sometimes how a storyline and a trend can maintain itself. Different players, same result. Kelvin Bryan that time cannot hold on to the ball, and that will frustrate a quarterback in the red zone. His receivers don't catch it, does not give him the opportunity to properly lead the defense.
And that's been the story. That's been the story for Washington in this game, and certainly against San Francisco. That goal line stand not able to capitalize inside the 20. This is a 25-yard field goal. That's good by Chip Lohmiller. So the Kickers earning their pay today. Washington leads it 9-6.
And the gentleman in the light shirt right there is Crawford Kerr, who wears number 68 for the Dallas Cowboys and saw his 44-game consecutive start streak get snapped today due to a new knee injury he incurred last week and then compounded in practice.
Lohmiller booms this one. No attempt at a return. James Dixon touchback. So Dallas will bring it out to the 20 with 10-10 remaining in the third. Field goal kickers duel, 9-6 lead by Washington. Just by way of an update here, inactives for the game. Isaac Holt, suffering from a groin pull, out for the Cowboys along with Crawford Kerr, Alvoid Mays, and Monte Coleman for the Washington Redskins. Coleman, the big loss as far as Joe Gibbs is concerned. Aikman, the handoff to Emmett Smith. Emmett trying to find some room on the left side. Wilbur Marshall strings him out and runs him out of bounds. Gain of about 2. Will bring up a 2nd and 8.
Well, Smith got strung out pretty effectively by the Washington defense on that particular play. And Jimmy Johnson, the head coach you see right there, the Dallas Cowboys, told us, you know, I don't mind a Smith running sideline to sideline. He can do that. He's got the speed and he's got the burst. If he sees something, he can go for it.
Out of the pro set in 2nd and 8. McKinnon in motion. Aikman smashed by Kurt Gouveia and Marcus Cook. And Gouveia, as Randy Cross said, who's the better pass coverage guy, comes in and delivers a nice hit.
Gouveia at 6'2", 227 pounds. You see him right there. Marcus Cook's lined up right here, number 74. Gouveia is 54. You'll see him rush Troy Aikman, and this is one of the areas Troy Aikman has to get better at. Actually, Steve Walsh handles this a little bit better in that this is the situation you got to get rid of the ball and not have to take a hit like that. He had nobody open. Dump it, get away from it, take the incompletion.
As a result, 3rd and 15. Complete to Dennis McKinnon, and it looks to be enough for the first down. So Troy Aikman, with the rifle of an arm and a bullet pass, finds Dennis McKinnon.
Now we have Dennis McKinnon lower left of your screen against Mayhew, number 35. Cuts back across the middle, and a strike thrown by Troy Aikman. We mentioned earlier that's the kind of pass that separates Troy Aikman from a normal quarterback. He can put that ball 30, 35 yards on rope.
19-yard pickup, ball at the 34 of Dallas. 1st and 10. Smith flags on a play as Emmitt Smith takes it up near the 40. Well, Emmitt Smith goes to give a hand to Tracy Rocker, and Rocker waves it off.
71 defense, 5 yards, first down.
That's Charles Mann. Mann has been a little jumpy all day.
Now watch Rocker, number 99, in the middle of your screen right there. Watch him jump. Now he gets back. No, I just think they got the wrong guy's number. Either that or Mann lined up off sides in the from left-hand position, number 71.
The focus of attention on that Washington defensive line minus Dexter Manley in his pass rushing ability. Not much of a gain on a play by Emmitt Smith. Let's check in New York with Greg Gumbel.
All right, JB, in New Orleans, the Saints have come right back to reclaim the lead. Look at the blocking Ruben Mays gets. He goes in from 10 yards out, and the Saints are back on top of Phoenix, 14-7 in the third. Back to RFK, JB, and Randy.
All right, Greg, and certainly no place to get back on track like doing it at home. The Saints hoping that will be the case. 2nd and 5 for the Cowboys. Emmitt Smith hurdling. Marcus Cook flushing him nicely. Pickup of about 2. Well, I tell you one thing, we know that Emmitt Smith is fast, but he's also showing us some hurdling ability.
That's a fun play to watch. You know, as a former offensive player, not too many backs have the ability to go full speed, leap up in the air, look to come down probably for a loss of a yard, maybe a no-gain play, and all of a sudden he squirts out on the other end for a 2-yard gain.
Makes it 3rd and 3 for the Cowboys. Ball at their own 41. 6:40 remaining. 3-point Skins lead. And complete for the first down. As Martin Mayhew back on the field. 3rd and 3 for Washington. Humphries throws it right in the chest of Gary Clark, and Clark obviously frustrated with himself.
Well, the Washington offense so far has done a pretty respectable job of keeping the Dallas Cowboys in this game. They start catching these passes, they must have a dozen drops, it seems like, so far today.
And that coming from the group known as the Posse. Set an NFL record last year with 3 guys, all 3 receivers, catching for 1,000 yards or more. First time a trio of receivers ever. Mojenko. And Washington downs it at about the 11 of Dallas. So the Cowboys, after a 45-yard punt, will start from their own 11. Well, the big play for Washington occurred in the first half when Mark Ripton was injured. Troy Aikman, decent afternoon, but it's been a battle of the field goal kickers, and the Cowboys will be starting from their own 11 on this possession. 11 make that 14-46 remaining in the contest. And Randy, without a lot of big offensive plays, you think this is a very crucial possession for the Cowboys?
Oh, definitely. Dallas has got 17 yards total offense so far in this second half. Very key for them right now, this far backed up in this part of the territory, to run the ball effectively. And if they do throw the ball, throw very conservative, very safe passes. They can't afford to give up a turnover in this territory. I mean, regardless of how bad Washington's been in the red zone, if they give it up here, I think they can kiss their chances goodbye.
Stan Smagala, bad news for the Cowboys, a fractured left radius. Being fitted for a cast on his left arm in the locker room right now. 1st and 10. Ball at the 11 of Dallas. Andre Collins, sack of Aikman.
And we'll see the sack is going to come from the right-hand side of the screen. Look at Collins, 55. Troy Aikman never had a chance. He's like a speed bump. He went over him so fast, it's like he wasn't even there. Now it's really critical. That end zone crowd will start yelling and screaming. It's going to be tough for these Dallas linemen to hear. This is the possession for the Dallas Cowboys in this game.
2nd and 19. Complete at about the 6-yard line. Dennis McKinnon.
Right now, priority number 1 is naturally to get a first down, but equally as important right now is to push this ball a little bit further out towards the first down markers, if you can't get a first down, to allow your punter more room to kick. If they had to kick right now, Saxon to be kicking from the end line.
3rd and 15. Flag on the play. Intercepted by Darrell Green. Touchdown, Washington. But there is a flag. The signal is for a touchdown. The penalty appears to be against Dallas, perhaps a face mask.
Either way it goes, if this is a holding penalty against Dallas, either way it would have been points for the Washington Redskins. Because if an offensive lineman is caught holding while the quarterback's in the end zone, that's an automatic safety. So if Green would have dropped that pass, Dallas would have still gotten 2 points.
An 18-yard interception and return for the touchdown by Darrell Green. Low Miller with the point after. And it's good. So we have the first touchdown of the afternoon. And Washington boosts this lead to 19-6.
Well, we talked about it. Seemed like just only seconds before. Dallas could not afford to make a bonehead mistake and put themselves in a bad position. They now need 2 touchdowns to score. Aikman's getting good protection. Gets the ball off. Great read by Darrell Green. Jumps right in front of Dixon right there. Now watch this return. Now he becomes a receiver. I'm sorry, that was Kelvin Martin, number 83, that was going to catch the ball. Now he's a running back. Now he's a wide receiver. And Darrell Grant, look at his escort. Now, is that an escort or what?
Well, even with the 4.2 speed of Alexander Wright and the world-class speed of Dennis McKinnon, fastest man on the field was that man there, Darrell Green.
Let's watch this run back one more time and just showcase how well Darrell Green runs with the ball. Kelvin Martin doesn't get a chance to get after him. Either does Emmett Smith. An offensive lineman isn't going to get him. And right, he's got an all-terrain vehicle, number 77. Darrell Grant leading him into the end zone.
Low Miller. From the 6, James Dixon. Trying to turn the corner. And Mayhew pulls him down at about the 23. So, Randy, you played the part of prophet, saying that Aikman and company down deep in their own territory in the last possession was indeed a critical one.
Human beings, being as they usually are, do not learn things without making mistakes. Well, Dallas has made 2 mistakes, and you can see from that the result of the mistakes. I mean, Aikman, I believe, is going to be a quality quarterback in the NFL, but I guess it's these tests by fire that really are going to harden him against what's to come in his career.
1st and 10 from the 22. Aikman with all kinds of time, complete to Alonzo Highsmith across the 25. Call it a 3-yard pickup. Alvin Walton on the tackle. Darrell Green obviously loves to play against the Cowboys as well, being from Texas himself. His first interception return for a touchdown team against the Cowboys, as does his second here today.
And all the blame for that pass and that touchdown does not go to Troy Aikman. You've got to give an awful lot of credit to Darrell Green. That was a fine play. It was more of a fine play than a bad pass.
2nd and 6 from the 25. Complete to Awal. Well, Greg is obviously aware we've got a good game here, but let's get an update on the rest of the NFL with Greg Gumbel.
JV, look at what just happened at Soldier Field in Chicago. From 17 yards out, Wade Wilson finds Hassan Jones all alone in the end zone. And with the extra point, the Vikings have tied the Bears with 1:55 to play in the game. Back to JB at RFK.
All right, Greg. Well, Hassan Jones wants to be known as someone other than the other guy playing alongside of Anthony Carter. They call him Paul Mahler for his great hands, and he certainly showed him on that highlight.
It's a combination of great hands and very, very soft hands in his ability to catch the ball. And you see right there that Awal came up just short of the first down on that last catch before he went away.
To an eligible position.
And number 66 for Dallas is Kevin Gogan. As you heard the official indicate, comes in as an eligible receiver.
And Jimmy Johnson told us to rest assured there are no plays in the offense to throw a pass to Mr. Gogan. He'll be in short yardage and goal line, and this is very, very short yardage.
So you don't think Washington will be fooled? First down as Emmitt Smith picks up 5 yards on the play. Run out of bounds by Darrell Green. So Emmitt Smith certainly putting up far better numbers today. As you take a look at the Giants on top of Miami, Don Shula trying to get his team better against NFC competition. Saw Greg Gumbel show you the highlights on that Minnesota-Chicago game in New Orleans. Angling for their first victory of the year. Cincinnati all over top of New England. Right here in Washington, it's a 19-6 Skins lead. First and 10 for Dallas from its own 37. Aikman complete across the middle to Emmitt Smith. 3-yard pickup will bring up a 2nd and 7. Andre Collins on the stop. Boy, Andre Collins is really playing himself a fine ball game. Monty Coleman said he really likes the youngster from Penn State. Not only is he talented, but he listens to constructive criticism.
Exactly. You know, the Penn State linebackers get this kind of stamp on them. Automatically, you're a great linebacker. Automatically, you're like a 4.0 college student, a very cerebral guy. He says this guy wants to learn. He takes criticism, but equally as important, he's very, very tough.
Aikman flushed out. And Tracy Rocker runs him out of bounds. Doubleheader Sunday here on CBS. Coming up next, most of you will see the Philadelphia Eagles taking on the LA Rams, while others will see the defense of Atlanta take on the best offense in the NFL, the San Francisco 49ers.
I can tell you from personal experience, James, Atlanta Falcons are awfully tough in Candlestick Park against the 49ers. They seem more often than not to come in there more fired up when they play in San Francisco than when they play at home. And you know Jerry Bland will have those guys jumping and bumping and steering in piles.
3rd and 9. Wilbur Marshall, nearly a sack. Charles Mann gets the sack. Seven-yard loss on the play.
The critical thing
and
there,
John Giesick, excuse me, Randy, getting up very slow, holding that right arm of his, and again, he replaced the injured Crawford Kerr.
The critical thing there for Aikman is when he is flushed out of the pocket by Wilbur Marshall coming up right here, he has to go to his left. You'll see Marshall 58 missed the sack. See, now Aikman going to his left does not have the ability as a right-handed quarterback to get an effective pass off. He has to completely turn to get the ball off, and Mann never gave him the time and got him for the sack.
Saxon. Stanley back to receive. Flag on the play. And the ball came loose. Is it a live ball? Referee whistles the ball dead. A 44-yard punt. 6-yard return. And there is a flag on the play.
Holding 27 on the receivers after the ball was kicked. Post-possession foul. Receivers keep the ball.
That's Brad Edwards. And as you heard Bob McElwee tell you, it'll still be Redskins ball when we come back.
Edge on life, be all you can be. And by Bud Dry. Why ask why? Try Bud Dry for refreshment that's beyond question.
And there's Troy Aikman being checked over by the Dallas trainer, saying, "You sure you're okay? Here's a little smelling salts."
Well, Troy Aikman had a long day, being sacked 7 times, and wouldn't it be ironic with Steve Walsh active for today if he got into the game, and he acknowledged as much, Steve Walsh.
Well, you asked him yesterday, James, said, how weird would it be if you had to play in this game if Troy got hurt? And Steve said, very, very weird. Sanders in motion on 1st and 10 from the Washington 18. Bynum
across the 20 to about the 21. Call it a 3-yard run.
So going back to that Steve Walsh situation with Troy Aikman at quarterback, I firmly believe, regardless of what the owner Jerry Jones said on the NFL Today earlier today, I believe if you want to get a picture of Steve Walsh in a Dallas Cowboys uniform, you better get it on your VCR today, or you better get a snapshot of him today, because you're not going to make many more chances to see him in that uniform.
Check his briefcase on the plane ride home. He'll be reviewing that New Orleans Saints press guide I gave him.
But a quality guy, very, very composed. And they do have 2 legitimate star quarterbacks here in Dallas.
2nd and 7. 2 tight ends. Bynum running hard. Dragged down by Jack Del Rio after a gain of 4. So Ernest Bynum, when Coach Joe Gibbs said, gives him the total package. A good blocker, runs well, and catches well.
And this is the kind of position in a ball game where the Washington Redskins in the past have been notorious for being able to just stifle an opposing team. They've got the running game. They've got the big physical offensive line. Their mission right here is not so much points. Their mission is first down, keep the ball inbounds, and let this clock keep running.
And Dallas pick up some more yards, only 17 yards in the second half.
In one possession, they had minus 16.
Bynum. Read well that time by Jimmy Jones, the rookie out of Miami, of Florida.
That was kind of an early or late birthday present for Jimmy Jones. He was getting snuffed pretty good by the right guard, Mark Schlereth of the the right guard for the Washington Redskins. He kind of spun out of the thing and just got hit right in the teeth. I mean, Schlereth had him blocked really well. He spun out of it right into the arms of his running back.
Ralph Borgienko. And Harris takes it at the 38. Flag on the play. And Harris turns the corner and still in bounds.
That one's going to be coming back, though, James.
All that effort. A 28-yard return. A 38-yard punt. And it looks like it will be coming back, as Randy mentioned.
Illegal block in the back. Number 45 on the receivers. On the return. 10 yards. First down. Timeout.
So timeout on the field of play. Washington on top. 19-6.
Starring Suzanne Flechette.
First and 10. Ball at the 29 of Dallas. 7:37 remaining in the game. Flag on the play. Darrell Grant got there. Let's see if they'll credit it to him. That'll be the 8th sack of the afternoon if it holds. It does, and the hold goes against Dallas. So Worrell Grant in there for the sack.
Now, it's actually an illegal use of the hands, JB, which is usually up in the face. And here we'll show Darrell Grant, number 77, working against Gogan, number 66. You couldn't see it there, but that left hand initially got right into Darrell Grant's face. You know, one thing we haven't talked about yet, James, there's a 40-yard differential in possessions. Dallas could have had the ball on the 32-yard line of the Washington Redskins. They had to settle for having it on their own 28. What do? They follow it right up with a sack, and they immediately lose another 8 yards.
And deeper on second down, 2nd and 19 now. Aikman back to pass. Man pressing. Complete to Alexander Wright near the first down marker. So Aikman and Wright make up all of the 19 yards plus. Looks to be enough for the first down, and it is.
Now this is a designed rollout by Aikman coming to his left. Look at man 71. Watch the shot Aikman takes here right at the end. Put him down on his back. The shot was delivered by Andre Collins, number 55, but it was a very nice play. I'm sorry, it was Wilbur Marshall, number 58, that hits him right in the chin.
And that from a man who understands the martial arts all too well, a black belt indeed, Wilbur Marshall. First and 10 from the 40. And Aikman again under pressure, having to get rid of it. Incomplete.
I'd like to go back to that hit delivered by Wilbur Marshall. That is the kind of hit that could be deemed blatant. That is not an accidental blow that was struck by Wilbur Marshall to Troy Aikman's head. He looked like he actually delivered the front of his head into Troy Aikman's helmet. And if a referee was to pick that up, not only could that be a blatant penalty, that could also be reasons for being delivered out of the game. See, that was not an accidental hit by Wilbur Marshall. He put his head down and intentionally drilled his helmet right into Aikman's face.
2nd and 10. Cowboys from their own 40. 6:22 remaining in the game. Complete to Martin, who has to come back. Tries to hurdle Alvin Walton, and Walton. Good arm whip that time, limiting them to only a 1-yard gain. San Diego looking for its first victory. Dan Henning, formerly coach here with the Washington Redskins, assistant to Joe Gibbs.
So the New York Mets trying to keep pace with the Pittsburgh Pirates, up 1-0 in their game, and Pittsburgh maintains their 6-2 lead. 2.5-game lead, matter of fact, in that NL East.
3rd and 9 right here at RFK. Dime defensive package in for the Skins. 6 DBs. Blitz. Bowles. Not enough as it's thrown complete to Alexander Wright. Now, Alexander Wright, although about a half a yard shy of the first down marker, ought to be feeling a lot better. This game represents the first time that he's caught passes this year.
Exactly. His confidence has got to be boosted incredibly. Besides the fact that this might be the first time in Alexander Wright's career playing football that he's the 2nd fastest man on the field. Because Darrell Green, number 28, is the recognized fastest man in football. Mayhew delivers a good blow, but it was good concentration by 81 Wright for the catch.
4th and 1. 2 catches on the afternoon for Alexander Wright, whose confidence had been shaken badly. Novacek and Awalt, 2 tight ends.
Whatever chance they have right here for the Cowboys.
Smith gets the first down, +3.
It's a good job by the front line of the Dallas Cowboys right here. Watch the interior line. Darrell Grant is sealed off. And just a nice job by the whole guys up there. Tony Slayton, number 65, Stepnoski, 53. Got Gogan, number 66, in there at left guard for an injured John Giesick.
On first down, Aikman throws it complete to Novacek. And Randy, this game had been a battle of field goal kickers up until the first touchdown of the game, scored on an interception return by Washington's Darrell Green. And that accounts for the only touchdown in the afternoon of Washington. They lead at 19-6 with 4:10 remaining in the contest. Second and 1 for the Cowboys at the 39 of Washington.
Incredibly, Dallas is not out of this game. They've made a lot of mistakes, but if they can score here, they're still a factor.
Complete for the first down, Kelvin Martin. Inside the 25. Let's check back in New York with Greg Gumbel.
Hey, JB, look at what just happened at Soldier Field. With time winding down, Kevin Butler from 52 yards out. It's good. And the Bears win it 19-16, JB.
All right, Greg, and back here, Dallas is driving down inside deep in Redskins territory. Complete that pass from Aikman to Novacek, and the ball is marked at the 11 of Washington. 3:28 remaining. Washington leading 19-6.
Dallas in the hurry-up offense for the last 2 or 3 snaps.
1st and 10. Aikman with time to Darrell Johnston, complete inside the 5.
The Dallas offense showing good composure, and Troy Aikman's trying to find an official right now so he can call a timeout.
And he finally finds one as Dallas calls timeout with 3:07 remaining. And Aikman looking poised, and Randy, you said a touchdown here in Dallas, still very much in the thick of things.
I very much think so. 3 minutes and 7 seconds to go. They're down by 13 points. A touchdown here puts them within 6 and keeps them in the ball game. I think right now, if I'm on that Dallas sideline, I'm getting that whole entire Dallas defense together and saying, look, guys, we needed a quick stuff job or we need a turnover. You got to be going for the ball.
At the conclusion of this game here, we'll be bringing you the second half of our doubleheader here on CBS. Most of you will see Philadelphia, the Eagles, taking on the Los Angeles Rams. The Rams, many people consider to be the second best team in all of football to the 49ers. Buddy Ryan's Eagles trying to get in the win column. Of course, others will see Atlanta taking on San Francisco. Now, prime time, Deion Sanders, the cornerback for Atlanta. A lot of talk. This is an opportunity for him to show whether or not he's got what it takes against the 49ers.
Exactly. He's been a little dinged. He's been a little hurt with a bum knee, and he's got a chance to show really what he's got with wide receivers John Taylor and Jerry Rice for the Niners.
And what we've got here at RFK Stadium is a good ball game. Washington on top, 19-6, but the Cowboys at the 2 of Washington. 2nd and 1. 3:07 remaining in the game.
Give it to Emmitt Smith.
It is Emmitt Smith. Touchdown, Dallas. So Emmitt Smith, with all kinds of daylight, gives Dallas his first touchdown of the afternoon, and we got a closer ball game.
Good job here by tuning in the whole left side, number 71, and the whole left side of the Dallas offense. Really nice job by one guy, Alonzo Highsmith, number 32, gets a great block on Wilbur Marshall, puts him on the ground, and there's nobody around that corner for Emmitt Smith to even have to avoid.
First career touchdown for Emmitt Smith. And Willis with the point after. And we also must give some credit to Emmitt Smith scoring his first NFL touchdown to Alonzo Highsmith, whom Jimmy Johnson says is one of the best blocking fullbacks around.
And you'll see there's Highsmith sitting right next to Emmitt Smith on the sideline, and it was a great job by Alonzo Highsmith. But here's the group right here that the pressure is on. We were looking at the Dallas defense and special teams. That right there is the kickoff team for the Dallas Cowboys. They're telling them, look, boys, no big plays, no big mistakes. Don't do anything hot dog. Don't get out of your lanes and allow Washington to make a big play. Remember, we're watching the Washington Redskins, a team that for decades has been the recognized leaders, at least one or two in the league, it seems like, in special teams and making big special teams plays.
Talk about a big play. Perhaps something for Washington to keep in mind is what Dallas tried earlier, the onside kick.
Well, I believe an onside kick at this point would go way past gutsy.
Well, they may be capable of it. Critical stats here. Both teams with 2 timeouts remaining. 3:08 remaining in the contest. Washington on top, 19-13. And Willis short from the 8. Joe Howard. He's dangerous. Flags on the play as Joe Howard gets it across the 25. McElwee has some housekeeping to do here, and this goes against Washington.
This will move Washington back into some...
84 during the return.
That's Gary Clark.
That'll move Washington back into some really, really critical areas. They now have to be very, very conservative. They have to run the ball. They can't make a mistake. Keep in mind now, folks, we're also in the last 5 minutes of the second half, so the clock will always stop when the ball goes out of bounds and on an incompletion.
And a very crucial game situation for Stan Humphries, who, again, as I mentioned, has played in only 2 regular season games. Last year, he finished up games against the Los Angeles Raiders and the Seattle Seahawks. And Humphries, of course, in the game now because of the injury in the first half to Mark Rippon, severely sprained knee. 1st and 10, ball from the 6 of Washington. Humphries complete to Ricky Sanders. 5-yard pass play will bring up 2nd and 5.
I'll be honest, I'm a little shocked that Washington is coming out gunning the ball. They've got a big physical offensive line. They've got some big, strong running backs, you know, led by Gerald Ricks, number 37. Give him the ball. Run some of this clock out. No, they throw it out in the flat. Effective pass almost bounced onto the ground, and actually a good catch.
Very close to a play that was reviewed earlier of Washington's. That was a trap. There's Mark Rippon in the street clothes here, the gray top shirt. And that's Stan Humphries, second-year quarterback out of Northeast Louisiana. 2nd and 5. Here comes Riggs. And the big back takes it about 3 yards. And there's a timeout on the field. We're at the 2-minute mark of this contest. Washington nursing a 6-point lead. Those are the numbers. Dallas trailing by 6. Fourth quarter action, 2 minutes remaining. Both teams with 2 timeouts remaining. And the Cowboys are looking for their 3rd consecutive victory here at RFK. It's 3rd and 2. Ball at the 14.
And Washington has only Donnie Warren in at tight end. I think this has got to be a run.
Humphries back to pass, under pressure, drop at the 1. Give the credit to Ken Norton. Good speed and quickness.
Is that a big play by the defense and a questionable call by the offense, or what?
So Washington, with Ralph Moisienko having to boot it from his own end zone.
3rd and 2, late in the 4th quarter. You're up by 6. You got a big physical offensive line. You run, right? Norton, 51, shoots right up the middle as he drops. Humphries drops back the pass. He never had a chance. Stubbs is on him. Norton's on him. Stubbs, number 96, jumps up and celebrates. This is the toughest punt there is for a kicker. He's got less than the required area. The most important thing right now that punter is thinking about is the snap. It is critical that that snap be right on his waist, because he'll only have 2 steps to kick this ball, and Dallas will be on him trying to set a return up.
1:56 remaining. Ball on the 2 of Washington. And Mojo decides to take the safety, an intentional safety on the part of Ralph Moisienko. So Joe Gibbs and the safe route.
You got to like that as a play, because Joe Gibbs figures, why kick him the ball and give him the ball probably on the 30-yard line, 35-yard line, and give them a chance for a touchdown to beat you. You take the safety, you walk out of the end zone, you get to punt the ball on the safety from the 20-yard line, and then they still have to get a touchdown to beat you, and they have much further to have to go. And there you see Mojo just kind of dancing around. Ken Norton, number 51, gets in his face, and he decides, oh, it's a linebacker. I'm getting out of the end zone.
Now, many of the coaches may say, of course, an obvious one, but Red Auerbach used to talk about coaches and the mindset, like Joe Gibbs here, not losing the feel of the game, not letting the emotions get you carried away, stay with it cerebrally, and indeed he did.
Joe Gibbs is a cool, calm customer. Obviously, he's won 2 Super Bowls. And right now you're going to see the Washington Redskins, as is the rules, they get a free kick from their own 20-yard line. They'll be punting to what is normally the kickoff return team for the Dallas Cowboys. And a lot of teams like to use a punter in this situation, because a punter not only can get the ball down the field, a punter is able to hang the ball a lot higher and enable his coverage people to get down there and be more effective on the coverage.
So hang time will be important here. Moisienko, not a good kick at all, but it gets past. It gets past Rod Harris. We've got a good one. 19-15. Skins on top. 1:51 remaining. The Cowboys will take over at their own 30.
My question is, do the Washington Redskins go into a prevent defense, back up, and not want to give away the big play and the big points, or do they continue attacking Troy Aikman? They've sacked him 8 times. I think they got to keep going at the quarterback. You get the head, the body dies.
Complete to Novacek. Gain of 8 on the play. Clock running, under 1:40 to play. Todd Bowles on the stop.
There seems to be no sense of urgency, no sense of panic on the Dallas Cowboys. They seem very cool to this point.
2nd and 2. Going for Novacek again, incomplete. 1:20 remaining.
This is a bit of a gamble by Troy Aikman throwing the ball the way he did, because he's just going to, this ball will just get over the hands of a leaping Marshall, number 58, just hits him on the, even if the ball had gotten there perfectly, I don't think the way he was positioned on the sideline, he'd have been able to get 2 feet in and make it a legal possession.
And the pressure team that time from Marcus Cook. 3rd and 1. Incomplete. Intended receiver was James Dixon.
That's a
who
misread
obviously
right
had
there.
a different route in mind.
That's a misread. The quarterback read one coverage, threw the ball to the spot he thought, and the wide receiver right there, Dixon, read it another and was running up the field on sort of just an outside little fade.
Brings up a 4th down.
Cowboys would appear to pass it. Smith or Highsmith Highsmith are out of the game. Johnson's in at fullback.
Incomplete. Flag on a play. Ryan Davis may be the guilty one here. Trying to defend the fleet-footed Dennis McKinnon.
34 defense, first down.
Pass interference against Davis. Watch this. There was never a chance until the very last second of a completion. It looks from this angle that he had his right hand all over McKinnon. Now he's bumping him with the body. He's bumping him with his body, and it was a catchable pass. That's the key. He was bumping him with the body. That ball could have been caught by Dennis McKinnon, number 85.
1st and 10. Ball at the 40 of Washington. 1:13 remaining. Intercepted. Todd Bowles has only Aikman to beat.
You hear it time and time again. The free safety's job as a center fielder. Todd Bowles is number 23 in the left high end of your screen there. He reads those eyes of the quarterback the whole way and steps right in front of that pass. I don't even know if Aikman ever saw him, but one thing Aikman did do a good job of showing a little pride and running him out of bounds and putting him on the ground and not enabling Bowles to score.
Young man from Temple University who was not drafted out of college. And Troy Aikman. Very obvious thoughts there. As Stan Humphries goes into the win the game position as Dallas uses its final timeout with 59 seconds remaining. And don't forget, coming up next here on CBS, Philadelphia taking on the Rams, while others will see Atlanta taking on San Francisco. That'll be coming up at the conclusion of this game here.
James, I think today we saw the Dallas Cowboys make just enough mistakes to get beat. I mean, they got 8-9 sacks against Troy Aikman. We got a couple of key interceptions, one for a touchdown, one for a long run back in a key critical area. But I think Jimmy Johnson and Jerry Jones have got this organization and this team going on the right track. They've got some stability now with some veterans like Lockhart and Danny Stubbs. I think that quarterback you saw right there, Troy Aikman, is going to be a great one. And with the personnel on those draft picks, this team is starting to stockpile up. You look down the road to the 1993s and the 1994s, I believe this Dallas Cowboy team is going to be one of your top teams in the NFC.
And Humphries, in a second, win the game move. Well, we talked with Jerry Jones before the game, and Randy, you asked him, is it a little easier to bear with things having played football yourself, as he did at Arkansas with Jimmy Johnson, and his answer was?
Well, he just said the easiest thing for me is to be able to look out there and see that maybe a coverage isn't executed quite right. And I can see that a receiver should have been dragging through an area to let another receiver open up. So I'm a little bit more tolerant. I'm a little bit more understanding about football. Washington's going to run down this ball one more time, and that'll be it.
So Joe Gibbs, who had indicated starting all too important, knocks off Jimmy Johnson's Cowboys by the slimmest of margins. And Joe Gibbs, who coached at Arkansas with Jimmy Johnson, goes over and shakes hands. So for Randy Cross, this is James Brown saying so long from RFK Stadium, where the final score is Washington 19, Dallas 15. Don't forget, coming up next, the second game of our doubleheader. You'll see either Buddy Ryan's struggling Eagles at 0-2 versus the Rams, or the 49ers hosting Atlanta's ferocious Falcons. That's coming next right here on CBS. You've been watching CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League.